This is a tragic story, but a crazy story in the world of mixed martial arts. MMA fighter killed by officers after a terrorist attack on Christian and Jewish places of worship. On Sunday, June 23rd, 2024, a gunman opened fire on places of worship in two cities of Russia's south region of the Dagestan province. 15 police officers were killed along with 4 civilians, including an Orthodox priest. These were confirmed by CNN and other news outlets to be coordinated attacks that involved eventually even more people. Sergei Melkov, head of Dagestan Republic, said 6 militants were also killed following the attacks of the churches and synagogues, plus police posts in the cities of Derbent and Makachakala, which are about 125 kilometers, roughly 75 miles apart. One of which, an MMA fighter out of Khabib Nurmagomedov's gym. This is a predominantly Muslim region, as MMA fans know due to many of the elite UFC fighters coming from Makachakala themselves, in Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev, and just basically that whole crew who train with them coming out of Khabib's former camp, training under his father, and or his new camp now in Dagestan. Violence in this region also is not new, ladies and gentlemen. And though the war in Ukraine may have fanned the flames, so to speak, this region near the Caspian Sea has a history of separatist and militant violence, given the diversity of religions in that region. And historically, diversity of religions in a region outside of North America in, the modern day, they don't get along, and there's historically a lot of violence. Important note though, and I cannot hammer this home enough, these aren't true religious men, right? These are terrorists. These are terrorists clouded by poisonous doctrine to want to do this. So I just want to hammer that home. Here's just a quick little video clip on what I saw break on CNN on Sunday, and I will attach the full clip in the description of this video and send it to you guys in the live chat here for those who are watching.
Attacks at houses of worship in the southern region of Dagestan. A synagogue was set on fire, and at least one priest was killed at a nearby Catholic church. Authorities say a group of militants armed with automatic weapons coordinated the attacks in the city of Derbent. Meanwhile, police just north of there were involved in a shootout after an attack on a traffic post. Authorities have now launched a terror investigation. CNN's Claire Sebastian is tracking the latest for us from London. So, Claire, what is the latest on all of this?
So authorities are saying that they believe these attacks in two different cities, Makachakala and Derbent, they're about 80 miles apart, are coordinated. They are, as you say, now investigating these attacks under the terrorism article of the Russian Criminal Code. The key target seems to have been religious sites. Russian official sources are talking about a synagogue and a church in the city of Derbent being attacked, and we're hearing about a shootout at a church in Makachakala where, according to Russian state media, quoting the Dagestani Interior Ministry, 19 people who had been taking shelter in that church are now safe. The Israeli Foreign Ministry has also put out a statement saying that 2 synagogues were involved, one in each city.
For more, let's turn now to CNN national security analyst Beth Sanner.
Well, it does have the hallmarks of an ISIS-K attack.
So if this is an ISIS-K attack against a synagogue and a Catholic church, what does ISIS-K want other than death and chaos?
ISIS has had a relationship with the Muslim community, not the majority, but 20% of ISIS foreign fighters in Syria came from Russia and the former Soviet states, and a lot of them from Dagestan. So they're going to crack down, but that we can't expect this to go away.
So why has this region of Dagestan been allowed to be so volatile and violent for so long?
Well, the ability of the Russian state to effectively deal with these kind of restive provinces. Dagestan is right next to Chechnya. And, another place, the Northern Caucasus, has always been this kind of hotbed of Islamic extremism. And the only way that Russia has dealt with in the past is Chechnya and 2 bloody wars that killed many, many Russian soldiers as well as more Chechens. And then he put a leader in charge that has brutally oppressed that population. So, it's extremely hard to deal with, and especially in a very diverse region. One of the things he's been doing is he's been forcing a lot of Dagestani young men to fight in the war in Ukraine, but that has actually probably increased the extremism there.
So no particular group, even today, June 27th, the time of this recording, at the time of this live stream, no particular group has been named officially responsible, although as you can see there, reports from CNN and some other articles have assumed it was a coordinated ISIS-K, which is an affiliate of ISIS, attack due to a recent, which was 3 months ago, attack on the Crocus City Hall in Moscow, which claimed 140 lives, one of the biggest terrorist attacks in Moscow to this date. However, Russian law enforcement told the state-run news agency TASS that the attackers were adherents of an international terrorist organization. TASS reported Monday, June 24th, that 5 of the gunmen had been identified and that some of them were related to the leader of the Sergokhalskinsky district, which is located between Derbent and Makhachkala. As mentioned earlier, one of the men was identified as former MMA fighter Gadzhimurad Kagirov. He took part in the attack in Derbent and was also a cousin of the Sergokhalskinsky district Magomed Omarov. His son and nephew were also involved in the attack, the son and nephew of Omarov. Now, in that attack, in the firefight with police officers, Kagirov was killed. 2 churches and 2 synagogues were attacked. The total death toll has risen from 19 when this was first reported to 20 here today, Thursday, June 27th, due to Kagirov's affiliation to Eagles MMA, which is owned by former UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov quickly commented on this tragic news on an Instagram post and in an interview with Red Corner MMA. This is what he had to say. So this is all Khabib Nurmagomedov's quote here. Going into a church and killing someone just because they practice a different religion, do I really need to condemn this? Isn't it clear that this is a brutal and an inhumane act? Where and when has something like this been normal in Dagestan? Over 30 nationalities, and of course the major practice Islam, but we also have Jews and Christians. This has never happened in 30 to 35 years as long as I've lived in Dagestan, he said. How can this be normal? My children live there. My mother lives there. My family lives there. My brother, relatives, they're 5 minutes away from that place. That terrorist, who he's referring to, Kagirov, is not our student. That is absolutely nonsense. It is not true. Yes, he has had camps at our gym at some point, maybe for a couple of months or so, but he's never been part of our official team. My condolences to all the relatives and friends of the victims. And he says, may Allah save us from all situations and grant us peaceful sky over all of Dagestani's heads. So the fighter involved here, again, he was killed in the attack, straight up shootout in the middle of the street. He was 2-0 as a pro and didn't really fight in any major organization at all. Absolutely crazy stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Tragic stuff here as, man, last week we talked about a shooting in a parking lot in Arizona where the shooting was in self-defense. And this week we're talking about straight up terrorist attacks on 2 places of worship. So really sad stuff, really fucked up situation, but in that region and also, in the Middle East where part of my family comes from, half of my family comes from, unfortunately, this isn't new. Unfortunately, history hasn't changed. And unfortunately, Khabib Nurmagomedov is false in saying that stuff like this doesn't happen, because it does. Maybe not to this magnitude, but again, the unrest there, it's been around for a while. I mean, just look at Chechnya. So it's sad, it's tragic, and this is not the story that I thought I would be seeing when I did my crazy stories in the world of MMA to share on a membership stream. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. We will highlight more crazy stories in the future here on this channel.